Hi Karen, good evening.
Hi.
Hello guys, welcome. Karen, please turn your camera on.
Hi.
Hi Shirley, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you.
Oh, okay guys. Okay, before we start with a very fast review about yesterday's class, I wanted to ask you guys if you have downloaded Anki. Did you have the opportunity or the chance to download Anki?
I'm
What
not.
about you, Shirley?
No.
Okay, Karen did not. All right. Hi Cecilia, welcome. Good evening.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing? All right. Cecilia, I wanted to ask you, have you downloaded Anki? I showed you this yesterday.
Yeah, I was trying download in my cell phone, but because I don't have memory, so I will try to download in my computer.
All right. Okay, sorry guys, I think the internet is breaking down a little bit. Let me close some documents that I have over here and tabs. All right. Okay, hi Ara, welcome. Before we start the class, I wanted to ask you if you have downloaded Anki. Ara, please turn your camera, your microphone on. I was asking you if you have downloaded Anki.
No, I didn't.
All right. Guys, it's very important that you take advantage of this because it really depends on the type of topic that you get, right? It's all random. But it is important for you to start practicing because it's not the same to listen to I don't know, some show on TV, right? Or some video from a YouTuber. It's not the same as listening to proper words that you are probably going to listen in the TOEFL. So it's important that you start getting familiarized with these words, such as some connectors, academic phrases. You know what I'm talking about? So I will highly recommend you guys to take a look to Anki, download it, or even if you don't want to download the app, you can use it through your Explorer. So obviously you're not going to get reminders or anything like that, but you can still use it. So I invite you guys to take a look to it. It's definitely going to be very helpful for you. All right, just that I wanted to start a class with that reminder. Okay, we're going to have a quick review of what we've seen on Tuesday's class. So let's start, right? Okay, so how it's organized, the structure of the listening. So remember, we can either get 3 or 4 lectures, or we can get 2 or 3 conversations, depending if we get the extra one, right? Here, or we get the extra one in the reading. Remember that in each lecture, you're going to get 6 questions, and in the conversations, you're going to get 5 questions, all right? So always, like as I mentioned before, the vocabulary that they are going to use is not anything related to slang. It's going to be an academic vocabulary. So take that on mind. It is very important. And if you don't get the extra one in the listening, you're going to work on 41 minutes total to work on the listening while to listen, right? The conversations or lectures, and basically we have 3.5 minutes to read instructions, and then we have 21 minutes to listen to the lecture and audio tracks, right? And times for answering questions is about 16 minutes. in total, no, we have the 41 minutes. It works, right? You have to try to work as best as you can, but you cannot go back. Okay, so try to answer and then continue. And the important thing in the listening part or the listening section is to take good notes. That's what we're going to practice today. All right, so let's go really fast to the type of questions that you can get. The first one, if you remember, is main idea. You're always going to get this one as a first question, right? Here is very easy to find that because you're going to find the meaning or the answer at the beginning of the conversation or the lecture, right? So it's not that hard to find it, but you have to pay attention to the beginning, and obviously it's very important that you take notes. And also some of the questions that you can get not related to main idea. The first one is going to sound something like, what is the main topic, or what does the professor mainly discuss? No, mainly, no, like in a general manner. What is the main purpose, or why does the student got to speak to know about a certain topic? So these are some examples of how this type of question could start. And as I mentioned before, I think this one is the easiest one, no? Because it's obviously main idea, the topic, basically what they are talking about. The second type of question is function and organizational type of question. Now we can get either of them, and some ways to identify them is no, a why. No, why does the professor say or mention this? That's function, right? And in this case, you can listen to the audio one more time. And it's going to answer this type of question, you need to understand the context, right? What they are mentioning, or in what type of situation they are talking about. And obviously it's important that you go to your notes to respond to this type of question. If we get an organization type of question, basically now we have to see how it's organized, and obviously we have to understand the whole either lecture or conversation at the end to try to put the answers in order, right? And because if we don't have good notes, it's going to be harder to find the answer. All right, and the next type of question, attitude and inference. In attitude, you won't be able to listen again. However, here you have to find out what's the professor opinion towards the topic that they're talking about. So basically, how is this person saying? What is the attitude when they are speaking? How is that said? Because they're going to mention it in certain way, maybe positive, maybe negative, maybe criticizing, or maybe supporting this idea. So that's what you have to pay attention to in this type of question. That's why everything that you found, while you're listening, that's important to take some notes. and obviously, also, sorry, what's the context of the conversation, right? Maybe it's a lecture that is complaining about certain topic. Now, this could be very random, but to answer this type of question, we have to pay attention to how the professor or teacher is talking about. All right, so we have to pay attention to them, how they say it, not exactly what they are saying, but how. Well, basically, now we have to get into the speaker's head. All right, now let's see inference. To inference is basically now we have to find out what something that is not being said by the professor, right? We have to imply. We have to infer. We have to do this inferencement. So what will the student? Okay, sorry. So in the first part, you can either get this inference in a way that we have to try to understand what they are saying, because when they are not necessarily being saying this, what can you infer about certain topic from what you have just heard, right? and what is the professor, the teacher implying when they are mentioning something. So you're not going to get the answer in your notes necessarily, but you're going to find it while you think about it. I don't know if you understand this, but you're not going to find the answer in your notes. You have to understand a little bit further to try to get into the speaker's head. But you can also get some type of questions that are going to ask you to find out or guess something that is going to happen next. For example, what will the student probably do if you're listening the conversation? Or what of the following is most likely to happen? No, after, no, for example, in a conversation, they're going to tell you, okay, what do you think is going to happen next? And you're going to have different type of answers, and you're going to choose the one that you think best suits the question, right? So we can either get in these two sides, no, to infer the professor, no, what they are saying or what they're trying to say with this lecture, or if we're talking in the conversation, to guess what's going to happen next. All right. And here, basically, no, we have to follow our logic. Do not get trapped by some details that can confuse you. So basically, here is just try to be logic about it, right? Obviously, these audios are not very short, are quite longer. So maybe 4 minutes, 5, in some cases even 6 minutes. So we have to try to understand everything, what they are saying, they're implying. And don't worry, we're going to practice that today. All right, the most important thing, as I mentioned before, for the listening part is your notes. All right, so because you're going to have a lot of information, but sometimes it's easy to not write too much about certain thing, and while you're writing, no, the speaker is the professor, the conversation keeps going, so you're kind of missing that information. That's why today we're going to practice how to take good notes. All right, so also in inference, it's very important that you read the question very carefully and answer according to what you have been asked to respond. No, try to understand the question as best as you can, and sometimes some details are going to help you to understand or to remember what they were mentioning or talking, not to infer the whole thing. And well, don't get triggered by other key words. Check your notes, because sometimes to confuse you, and they always do that, guys. They always do that. They use some synonyms to ask the same thing. So you might read a word and you don't recognize it, you don't remember, but they talk about it. But the difference is that they're using a synonym to ask you, right? And then you can get confused and you can be like, well, they didn't talk about this, but they did. That's why we have to understand the question. Very good. All right. If you find something that you might not recognize, try to go back, take a look to your notes, and I'm sure you will find the answer. All right. Again, key here is to have great notes. Yes, avoid falling into the wrong detail trap. They do that. They do that all the time, as you are being seen in all these sections, all the different type of sections. They do that. Basically it's sorry to trick you. So try to read, understand, and don't get too confused. No, don't get too nervous. And I'm sure you have the answer, but sometimes they do that in purpose to trick you, all right, and make you confused between maybe two options, two answer options. All right. So okay, that's all. Okay, yeah, we already see this. All right, guys. So maybe any questions so far? We're checking this very fast. Just to remember, right? Okay. What we're going to do right now, guys, is let me close this, it's a bit heavy. All right. We're going to listen to a lecture. we're going to practice with lectures because those are probably the most challenging tasks, and obviously they are the longest. And what we're going to do right now, guys, is I'm going to give you maybe a minute so you can go and grab a piece of paper and get a pencil or a pen, whatever you want. And we're going to take some notes. We're going to learn how to take some notes. So please, guys, maybe if you can take a piece of paper like this, the long one, and I'm going to teach you a couple of tricks so you can have or write better notes. All right, guys, I'm going to mute my microphone. While you guys get ready, you can go and grab a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. All right, let's practice like it will be a real TOEFL test, all right? So guys, please go and grab a piece of paper. Why? Because we're going to listen to this audio and you need to take some notes. And this audio, if I'm not wrong, is 6 minutes. So I'm going to wait for you guys a little bit. Please go get ready. All right, I don't see Annie. Annie, are you there? Yes, you're there. All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I see Raul. Well, no, Ara, I cannot see you at all. Angel is there. All right, thank you. Okay, guys, so we're going to start, okay? So why I wanted you guys to have a piece of paper like this one, because this is a not papel bond, that's what you are going to get in the quiz. So basically here, what you should do, now this is a tip, to try to organize a little bit in manner of seconds, right? So you're going to have the paper and you're going to fold it in 4, right? You go half again, you go half again one more time, and then you finish with this. In this way, no, and you do it very good. When you unfold your paper, you're going to have some divisions in your paper. All right, remember, for the listening, the most important thing is notes. And remember, it's a lot of information. So it's easy to write everything. And then at the end, you kind of like, you're reading again the thing, right? What you just listened. And it takes time. Why we're doing this? Because here, I have little squares. So every time they start talking about different, a certain characteristic or some detail that I consider important, I try to fill each square with that information. But I'm not going to write the whole thing, right? I have to find some keys, some keywords to keep writing, okay? So basically here what we have to do is, and if you can try to do right now, let's do it with this word, following. Okay, try to write this phrase, this instruction that you have here, without writing the vocals. Try to do it. I'm going to write that as a type. No? Do not write the vocals, just the consonants. Okay, guys. So I know that writing that the first time is a little bit challenging, right? But imagine writing the whole thing with the vocals is going to take you more time. What is the point of doing this exercise? That whenever I'm writing, I can cut some time so I can continue listen. So instead of writing review, I can write RBW. Or instead of writing the, TH. Or even if I'm going to write and, I can write a symbol, right? Instead of writing and. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, while we are writing, it's not necessarily for us to write the whole thing. For example, I listen this phrase, no? Listen to a part of the lecture in an environmental science class. No, I'm listening to that. I don't need to write everything. I can write some keywords. Well, this is talking about what is the more important thing in this sentence. What do you think, Shirley? What one or two words will you write if you listen this sentence?
Environmental class, environmental science class.
Yes, same thing. No, we don't have to read or write everything to understand that they are talking about this. So we cut the time a little bit. All right. So try to don't write the whole sentence. Try to listen. Use some symbols. No, anything that can help you to write faster. It's going to help you to have better notes. And I'm sure that at the end of the lecture, your whole paper is going to be filled with information. However, it's not going to be filled with words or too many words, sorry. Now you're going to have just the information that you need. And that's the key, because when I want to answer, I don't have too much time to answer either and keep reading everything and all the sentences. No. I can go and keep reading. Well, I have some keywords and I can remember, all right, yes, must be this. And also, if I get, for example, an organizational type of question, now I kind of have like an idea that I'm going in order, right? Depending how you want to do it. You might want to go like this, or maybe you want to go like this. That's up to you. But at least you have something to differentiate each idea. That's the point. All right? Please, in this exercise that we're going to do right now, try to not write the whole sentence. No, just try to write some keywords, and try to your best to don't write the vocals. Sometimes we might need it. No, sometimes we need it to understand the word, but in some cases we don't. So try to cut that. All right, guys. So we're going to start, and we're going to listen to this audio that we already know what it's talking about, right? Environmental science class. And let's do this exercise. All right, and let's see how you do it. So let's start, guys.
A class on environmental studies.
Often, when we think about deserts, we imagine vast, uninhabitable wastelands that are basically, uninhabited. But actually, drylands comprise over 40% of the Earth, and over 2 billion people across the globe live within these very tough ecological zones. Obviously, the scarcity of water is a huge issue for any population, big or small. And to survive, people in drylands, these kinds of societies often will utilize too much of what little resources they have. It's an unsustainable process, leading to an eventual degradation and intensification of environmental conditions. The whole process is known as desertification. The land basically deteriorates over time, becoming a harsher and harsher desert. But I should mention that desertification does happen naturally. Severe and persistent droughts occur, and, well, they're basically unavoidable, unfortunately. But the intensification of the process has become alarming. Let me walk you through how human activity has affected desertification. Throughout history, the populations of arid and semi-arid regions were small and basically nomadic, balancing survival techniques like hunting and gathering with farming and herding. They moved around a lot in their attempts to navigate the irregular seasons, but population growth led to less movement and more farmland, and that farmland needs to be irrigated. Now, all life is essentially dependent on healthy soil. Plants can't grow without it, And without plants, there aren't any crops for people, or for that matter, grazing animals. Healthy soil is the result of a few concerted efforts, like heavy composting, rotating crops, and using chemical fertilizers sensibly and correctly. And for truly rich soil, there needs to be fungi and microorganisms in the earth, byproducts of organic decay. The breakdown of dead plants and animals provides nutrients like carbon, nitrogen, and sulfur and phosphorus. Now, those components need to be maintained in the soil in order to farm effectively. That's true anywhere, not just in dry areas. Without proper conservation of healthy soil, we begin to see desertification. Too often, chemical fertilizers are overused, as is what little water is available, sapping the topsoil of those fundamental nutrients. If plants can't draw nutrients from the earth, they don't grow. Becomes too compact or too loose, resulting in erosion, and that leads to even further desertification. But there are also a few other causes. Grazing animals can be responsible as well. Livestock like cows and sheep are obviously very important to any robust farming society. But the problem with permitting animals to feed uncontrolled in dry regions with few predators and no migration is that they can quickly eliminate all plant life. And like before, without vegetation cover, topsoil is exposed. So we see erosion starting when heavy wind or storms sweep the land. And here's another cause that I know some of you are already thinking of: the reckless clear cutting of forests. That too can set off the desertification process. Trees are needed for securing topsoil and reducing wind erosion. Again, balance. I mean, sustainability is too often disregarded, resulting in still more degradation. And keep in mind that a region without grasses and trees only gets hotter and hotter over time. The process doesn't stop with erosion. The stark surface reflects sunlight back into the atmosphere, leading to greater evaporation and less rainfall. So, how exactly can desertification be stopped? A big part of the problem is that these societies living in these kinds of harsh zones are usually marginalized and very poor. Some are even war refugees on the run from invading militias. They're, well, desperate sometimes. It's only through education, the teaching of sustainable agricultural techniques, that desertification can be slowed or stopped. Common sense treatment of topsoil is key, and crop rotation has to be practiced. The planting of cover crops like beans and lentils, that's been shown to boost nitrogen in topsoil. Responsible irrigation should also coincide with building terraces in hilly areas. Those terraces, they look kind of like stairs built into the side of a hill. They help to prevent runoff and erosion. Planting more trees in specifically chosen locations can also lessen environmental degradation and help to stabilize the soil. And we're still developing ways to adapt. Conservation ingenuity has resulted in something called arid aquaculture, a method of breeding fish in the salty ponds of certain drylands. So, as bleak as all this might seem, there's still plenty of opportunity to overcome it.
All right. All right, guys. Sorry, I know it's a rule that we should have our cameras on at all times, but I had the information there that my internet was slow, so I didn't want you guys to have to have some problems to listen to this. All right, so what do you think, guys? What do you think about this lecture and the topic? Let's go with Raul. What do you say?
It was a little slowly in my internet teacher, but I listened to the certification, the word. You listen me?
Yes, I can listen you now. You said something about certification?
Yes. Uh,
What do you mean?
human activity affect the certification.
Oh,
I listen to
diversification.
that.
Oh, all right. Sorry.
The
I just
the certification.
All right. Okay. Yes. Yes. So it was maybe a new topic for many of us, right? However, it's always going well. If it's a reading as an audio or whatever, you're always going to have the whole information there to understand. Sometimes maybe the topic is not as new or as old. Sorry for us, but that's luck, right? We cannot choose what type of topic do we get. So guys, I would like you to please take a picture of your notes and we're going to share them to the WhatsApp group, or you can write it to me on private. It's up to you. But to take a look, I'm not going to say names, don't worry, but just to take a look of how you did. All right. So please share it through the WhatsApp group or send it to me on private. It's fine. I'm not going to say your names. Don't worry. If you're a bit shy, it's fine. And we're going to take a look how you did in your notes. I see Shirley smiling. Why are you laughing, Shirley? It's fine. It's just to take a look how we did and give some good feedback, right? And see maybe some things that we can change, or I think maybe we can copy some things that others did.
I smile because I don't think you will understand my letter.
No, well, at least we have to understand, how it's organized and all of that. So don't worry. All right, I got one. Please, everyone, if we could do that, would be very helpful. All right, we have another one over there. I'm not sure if it's the same one, but let's take a look. I'm going to share it with you. All right, so what do you see there? All right. Well, I'm sure the person that wrote this understands very good, but we can recognize some words, right? And that's the key here. We don't have to write the whole sentence. We have to write keywords. Nationality, available. No? And I don't know if that happened to you guys, because I was also taking notes to do the exercise. But at the beginning, you kind of want to you write in a pretty way, and then at the end, you write anything, right? It's fine. The thing is that we should understand it at the end. But I think it's good. Look, it has some arrows, some symbols, not even some organization over here. It looks good. It looks very good for me. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay. We have another one, I think. Let's check. Okay, the rest, if you could also share. I think we actually understand this one better. We understand definitely better. Have desserts, rice, percentage, healthy, other, new shop, people. I think it looks very good. I have another one. The key here, guys, is try to write as many symbols, right? Or some ways that we can cut information and just try to pay attention to what is most important. All right, so we're going to stop it and let's see the last one that I've got. Thank you. All right, we're going to do this exercise once again, don't worry. We're going to check the answers actually. While we are checking on this, does anyone remember how many questions do you get when you have the a lecture like we did right now. Society, forest, soil, nutrition, don't grow, certification. All right. But I think here we need more notes, right? It's a good start, but we have to write as much as we can. All right, guys? I think, but you did good, guys. I know the tip that I gave you to don't write the vocals might be hard, but with some words, it's faster. For example, diversification, no? You can cut the word at half if you don't write the vocal, so that's a good way. All right, I don't think I have more. I'm just going to check. Don't be shy, guys. Share your notes with us. Okay, let's see maybe if someone else wants to share in the next exercise. But the answer to the question that I ask you, the answer is that per lecture you get 6 questions. All right, so let's see. We're not going to answer. If you want to, we can guess. But let's see some examples of how these questions are. All right, for example, here I'm going to zoom in it for you guys. So remember the first question, first type of question. Why does the professor mainly does the professor mainly discuss? No, this is a main idea question. If you could guess, guys, which one would you choose? Just for the word, I will guess this one. But sometimes they do that to trick you. Which one do you think? Let's see. Cecilia, which one will you choose?
The last option.
The last option. Okay, let's see. We're just guessing, so it's fine. Well, you actually did good. Great. See? They do that to trick you. They do that. But it's fine. Okay, next one. According to the professor, what is one way healthy topsoil can reduce the desertification? What type of question do you think this one is, guys? It's obviously not the first one, right? It's not a main idea. What do you think is function, organization, sorry, attitude, inference? What do you see? What do you think? According to the professor, what is one way healthy topsoil can reduce desertification? Okay, let's. Yes, very good. Thanks, Shirley. All right, so let's see, Karen. Which one will you choose? Let's just take a guess.
B.
B. All right. Let's see. Well, it was actually the next one. It fosters plant growth. Well, it doesn't matter, right? We're just guessing. Okay, let's see. Now we have already 2. Now we have 4 left. According to the professor, which of the following are causes of the desertification? Choose 2. Okay, what do you say, guys? What type of question is this? Let's see, Shirley. Which one will you choose?
Take the type of crops farm. I think it's the first one.
The first one. All right, let's see.
And I think
in the okay, sorry. We have to choose 2.
yes.
Sorry. But I think the first one was good. No? We're just guessing. We're not necessarily practicing. You're going to practice tomorrow. Where I'm just trying to introduce you an example of how it will be. All right, let's go to the next question. This other type of question. Okay, who can tell me what type of question is this? What does the professor imply about population living in drylands? Imply, keyword. Remember, imply.
Inference?
Yes, very good. Inference. All right. So who can tell me which one will you choose? We're just guessing, so don't worry if it's wrong or it's fine.
The second one.
Second one. Okay, let's take a look. Nice. Very good. Actually, great. All right. So we have another type of question. Let's see. I think we have two left. Okay. Why? Remember why? Type of question with why. Why does the professor mention playing trees in specific locations? You can tell me what type of question is this one. You can tell why.
Function?
Function. Yes, very good.
Yes.
So who can tell me which of these options is the right? This is the right one. Just take a guess. Let's see the guys. Maybe Angel or Raul. I don't know, guys, if you want to practice. Which one do you think is the correct one? I would say the third one. I don't know. We're going to guess, right? We're just guessing. No, it wasn't that one. Okay, yeah. To give an example of effective farming tactics. Yes, well, they mentioned many, right? At the end. Okay, and finally. Okay, why? Again, why does the professor say this? And in this case, we get an audio. Let's listen.
Why does the professor say this?
But I should mention that desertification does happen naturally.
All right. Why again? No, we already know what type of question is. Which one will you choose? Let's see. Shivli, which one will you choose? Just guess. It's fine.
Second one?
All right. Yes, you were right. Right. Great job. All right. So as you see, it's not as hard, right? But sometimes if we don't have good notes, it can be a little bit difficult. Obviously, we are just guessing and practicing and recognizing some of these questions. The point today is to practice how to take successful notes. All right, so now we're going to take a look to this one. Again, we're taking a look to lectures, and we're going to practice taking notes about this one. This one is going to talk about US history class. So it's probably going to be a little bit heavy, all right? But we're just practicing. Okay, guys, is everyone ready? So we can start. Okay, I see everyone there. I don't see Angel. Okay, guys, let's start. I'm going to take, just in case, my camera, right? So you don't have trouble listening. Okay, guys, let's start.
Listen to part of a lecture in a U.S. history class.
To fully understand the Cold War, to get why exactly relations between the US and the Soviet Union were, well, so strained, we should take a step back first and look at earlier world events. We'll talk about World War II, of course, but let's start even before that, in the 1920s, to get a more complete picture. I'm sure you've all heard of the Roaring Twenties. It was a decade that saw tremendous political, economic, and social change in America. Those changes, they opened up more opportunities for industrial and economic growth. Restrictions that had been in place during World War I weren't applicable to growing businesses anymore in the 1920s. Now, new policies that encouraged big business were adopted. For example, tariffs. Tariffs were raised to the highest level on foreign goods to keep out competition. That means that products manufactured in America were more easily available to consumers, and so American industry flourished. The sense of security, the confidence, it was almost tangible. But that didn't last, of course. The country couldn't sustain that kind of economic growth, and, in a way, it eventually brought about the stock market crash of 1929 and the Great Depression of the 1930s. The impact of the Great Depression not only weakened America's economy, but also other countries too. This is because trade with America dipped. Loans that had been given to countries like Germany after the First World War failed to bring economic stability. Ultimately, all that economic unrest gave power to extreme political movements like communism, fascism, and National Socialism, Nazism. Now, when war broke out in Europe in the late 30s, after Germany violated the World War I peace treaty, President Roosevelt announced that America would remain neutral. It was controversial, but the US wasn't exactly looking to join any conflicts we could avoid at that point, not after World War I. A surprising number of people don't realize this, but America stayed out of the war in Europe for a full 2 years. We provided money and weaponry to some extent, but that's it. No manpower. And it was in those same 2 years that, well, Germany and its European allies took control of almost the entirety of Europe. But then things changed. It was Pearl Harbor, of course, the bombing on December 7th, 1941, that motivated America to join the war. The Pacific Fleet took a large hit in the surprise bombing, and on December 8th, America declared war on Japan. It was only 3 days later that Japan's allies, Germany and Italy, declared war against America. Now, I mention all this to set some context for the relationship between the Soviet Union and the United States at the time America joined the war. We were allies, but only strategically so. We shared an enemy. So, Roosevelt joined the British and Soviet leaders, Winston Churchill and Joseph Stalin, in developing a military strategy. Those three leaders agreed that Germany's defeat should come before Japan's. Together, they began a military operation in North Africa in the summer of 1942. America not only contributed supplies to drive German and Italian soldiers out of North Africa and France, but also assisted the Soviets with soldiers for the first time in order to push German troops back into Europe. I won't linger on the details of the war, but on May 7th, 1945, Germany surrendered. Japan also formally surrendered on September 2nd, 1945, but at a great civilian cost, of course, with Hiroshima and Nagasaki both devastated by atomic bombs. I know some of you will have opinions on those bombings, so we'll talk about the ethical questions raised in another class later this month. In any case, the consequences of World War II were catastrophic, obviously. There were millions of displaced persons, an alarming death toll, and widespread destruction. But even if the fighting had stopped, the tension hadn't fully subsided. I mean, post-war disagreements between America and the Soviet Union, these disagreements paved the way for distrust and paranoia. With their common enemy defeated, the two countries no longer had to remain allies. Both rose from the aftermath of war as the dominant global powers. And at the same time, the military value of the atomic bomb was now indisputable. And that brings us to the Cold War.
All right. So, I'm sure many of you have heard about this topic. It's talking about history, right? We usually listen about this in high school. Okay, so I would like you guys to please share your notes, especially the students that haven't shared their notes yet. The ones that is Raul. Raul haven't shared. Please, Annie, also, could you share your notes? Ara and Angel. Alright, guys, if you could send your notes through the chat on private or to the group, it's fine. To take a look to how you took your notes. Alright, guys, we're going to wait for you, Raul, Annie, Araceli, and Angel. Please do it. Okay. While they do it, do you have any questions, maybe, guys, related to this section? Anyone? All right, thank you very much. We got one.
Yo tengo una duda. Justo estaba leyendo como tips para igual tomar notas. Y bueno, no sé si es verdad, eso te quería preguntar, que, o sea, si en una parte hablan muy rápido es porque no es tan importante en el listening.
Depende qué está hablando, ¿no? Porque a veces puede estar clasificando información, pero el objetivo igual tampoco es escribir todo, ¿no es cierto? Es escuchar y tratar de tomar alguna nota al respecto. Sinceramente no había escuchado lo que comentas, no sé, humor o un tip, pero obviamente igual si lo dicen muy rápido, ¿no? Posiblemente no vayamos a entender mucho. El objetivo igual es siempre estar atentos, ¿no? Y recuerden igual que les puede salir una pregunta de organización o de actitud, ¿no? Entonces, es importante siempre tomar en cuenta todo, ¿no? En qué contexto se está diciendo, de qué manera, qué sé yo, ¿cierto? Y también no hemos visto conversaciones, pero sí, ahí es un poquito distinto, ¿no? Ya se lo van a ir practicando, o sí tal vez ya lo han practicado, pero se van a dar cuenta que es un poco igual distinto, ¿no es cierto? La lógica de interacción, la conversación. Pero el tip sería, ¿no? Si es que hablan muy rápido, simplemente escuchar y ver y considerar si realmente es algo importante, si está añadiendo algo, tal vez está hablando de lo mismo, tal vez está redundando mucho. Okay, thank you, Cecilia. Okay, if you can see here, we have some words, we have some numbers, right? It sounds like it's not just keywords, but remember here, guys, key are your words. Your words are keys are key to answer the questions. Entonces tampoco es escribir todo, pero tampoco es escribir casi nada, ¿no es cierto? No hay que poner un equilibrio. Entonces, obviamente es calidad, no cantidad. Pero en este caso sí yo pensaría que es muy poquito. No me parece muy, muy, muy poca la información, no hay mucha explicación, simplemente se está mencionando que se está hablando a nivel general. No hay mucha conexión de ideas. Entonces, eso tal vez nos falta un poquito. ¿Alguien más, tal vez? Anyone else that could share their notes? Let's see if anyone else share them. No one? Let's see, ¿eso de quién es? This is the role. A ver, Ángel, maybe, Araceli, Annie. All right, guys, don't be shy. It's important for you, no, to practice. Maybe you haven't done it, but there's no way to get better if we don't practice. All right, guys. Entonces, we're going to finish today's session with this activity. And I'm going to launch today's polls. If you give me just 1 second. All right, guys. You should get it right now. Please answer it. Faltan 2 personas, por favor. Falta una persona. All right. Me dan un segundo, por favor. Tengo que sacar un screenshot of all the students. All right, guys. So that will be it for today. Have a good night, and I'll see you next week. Okay, guys, take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.